I never exaggerated anything. Let me actually show that. Yeah, the yellow vest year. The year. 1 year. The first year of the yellow vest anniversary. Let's try to see what happens. I don't really need to. A day for a day after the debut and the initiation of the yellow vests, as protesters have been calling for mobilization and a new expansion on Saturday 16th and Sunday 17th of November in Paris and Lyon, and again in Marseille. 140 appeals calling for a manifestation and a protestation have been accepted and resuscitated throughout the country. In total, there are approximately 200 different actions attended throughout the weekend to mark the first anniversary of the movement. The story and history of the Yellow Vests, which actually initiated its debut as the renewal by making its reinitiation on the social networks. This is really a petition launched online against the highest tax surge on the fuel taxes at gas pumps, which eventually mobilized the French people. They have been invited to go on strikes by ventilating their frustration and dissatisfaction by placing yellow vests on the street, on the road. Before the first day of the mobilization nationwide on November 17th in 2019, this first act would actually consist of blocking the roads and investing their round points in the circles by denouncing the social injustice. Because they were actually investing in the round points, the traffic round points and circles, by dominating the region to yell and denounce the social injustice as a part of a petition. The operation is going to repeat itself throughout the Saturdays, and this is really the Act 3, which marks its return rendition. The third day is going to be covered up, dominated with the violence and riots in Paris. Again, the forces of the order does not arrive to contain that, and this would actually be a very truthful scene of the urban guerrilla in the plain open area of the capital city of France. Noticeably, the act of vandalism nearby the Arc Triomphe, the Victory Arc, the monumental Victory Arc in the city. In response, the government decides to suspend the actual hike and surge in the fuel tax on December 4th. Then the December 10th, Emmanuel Macron makes one's own televised message to try to respond to the crisis. He announces the removal and a lift up of 10 billion euro in favor of the purchasing power for average people by lifting up the taxes and pouring more money into the market for average people's purchasing power. And this televised message does not actually assuage the spirit of the Protestants, creeping up the entire region with a greater flame than ever each Saturday. January 15th, Macron launches the great national debate every day, always, with an eye to appeasing the social anger from all different angles of the society. However, these weekends pass, and these actually look like with yet another violent confrontation between different forces of the police and the protesters on the street, up until the the May 18th of 2019, the last act that has been recorded as the last day of the mobilizing day for the Yellow Vests. In Commercy, this is a city of 5,000 residents. The anger is every day so present. Each tiny region was distinguished itself as people are going on riot by throwing off their own appeals. The first portion against the recuperation of the movement by the national representatives, and the second one for the actual obtain and attainment of the assembly, which he had reunited in January 2019. Close to the 300 Yellow Vests had come to the region from all different parts of the France. The actual fighters and militants have decided from that point to launch the list of the next election municipal by actually signing up and recruiting their fighters for the next march.